Yo, what's up guys? I'm a large basket and today I'm going to go clip by clip to give you some visuals and pretty much all the information I know on how to pull off jump snipes. Almost all the clips in this video are unrecycled and you might have to watch this video several times to get these ideas to sink in. I'm really sorry about that, but there's a lot to talk about here and I go pretty fast for the sake of time. So yeah, let's get into it. If you watched the first several minutes of this video, you might have noticed that all of my clips were of me playing on as my hunter, but if you like playing on the Titan or Warlock, you don't have to worry. What I'm going to talk about is pretty much universal among all three classes. The only big difference between Hunters, Titans, and Warlocks is that the Titans and Warlocks' apex, or top of their jump, starts when you pull up the scope of your sniper. Which means, if you go into either your lift or your glide, all you have to do is pull up your scope to start your fall. You don't actually have to physically end your jump, then pull up your scope. Let's really quickly talk about setups here. First off with snipers. The most important perk for pulling off jump snipes is hands down, snapshot. Being able to scope in quickly is the best thing while pulling off stunts like this. If you don't have snapshot on your sniper, then two scopes I look for are either the short gaze or ambush sights. These sights scope in quickly and have a wide range of view, which is helpful for finding your target when you're flying through the air. Sometimes, if you jump up and scope down, you could lose your target really easily, and having this wide range of view is really helpful. Alright, let's talk about jumps and we'll start with the Hunter. For all my characters I play with maxed agility. This allows me to jump higher, which I think is really helpful while jump sniping. On top of that, higher jump is probably your best jump to use with the Hunter. This jump stabilizes me in the air the most, as opposed to better control, which moves me around a little too much. On the other hand, triple jump is a great jump, and will also work. For jumps on the Titan and Warlock, you can pretty much just use any jump that you like the most. Choosing a jump on these two classes isn't as important as the Hunter. The only jump that will not work at all is Blink. At this point in the game, since it's been changed, you can't really ready your weapon fast enough to pull off these shots unless you get really lucky. I do understand that there are going to be people after this video who are going to say that all my shots are completely based on luck, and that's okay. But to be honest, I think I have found a few variables that seem to be very consistent, although I do agree that there are some very lucky shots, like this one here. You might be asking, how in the world did this shot come anywhere close to hitting a target? Well, in this clip we can see several of these consistent variables I talked about a second ago. One thing to know while trying to jump snipe is that your bullet will pull away from where you're moving. And on top of that, your bullet does not originate from the barrel of your sniper. Keep those two things in mind throughout this tutorial. So if I'm falling really fast, my bullet will pull away from where I'm moving and go above my reticule. Before I get into something else, let me say one thing. There is actually a small window of time when our bullet is accurate in the air. But before I explain that, let me explain one more mechanic. If we were to hit the apex of our jump and shoot, our bullet will pull down, like this shot here. Notice how the player is below my sight, and now we can see the actual bullet path, which has a downward path like the other clip. So if the bullet from our sniper pulls down from the top of our jump, and vice versa from the bottom of our jump, the only other option is to shoot at a point in between. Let me explain this with a simple diagram. In this diagram we're going to start at the top of our jump. Our bullet path in white is going to be at our target, the circle in red, below what we can actually see in our reticule and our sniper scope. In order for us to make our sniper shots accurate, we actually need to fall, and at just the right speed of our fall, our bullet path will match up with our line of sight in our scope. So all this means for you while jump sniping is that you need to be falling, and time your shots correctly. Usually I find the timing to be just under a second from the top of my jump, or right when I start to gain some speed on my fall. Getting this timing down will take some practice, but as always, there is a catch, and that catch is movement. If we were to jump straight up in the air, and not move in any horizontal path whatsoever, even if we timed our shots correctly, the bullet will not always go where we want it to. This means that there is no jump sniping mechanic in this game, but we do know that our movement in the air will pull our bullet around in different directions, like I showed you in the first clip. So instead of getting 100% lucky, what we're actually going to be doing is forcing our shots to go into places we want it to by moving in certain directions. To be honest, the timing for shots I showed beforehand was really the timing for if you were moving away from your target, because most of the time when I'm jump sniping, I'm trying to jump away from my opponents. But not every situation is the same. you might be moving to different directions based on different situations. So let me explain what happens to your shots when you're moving in different directions. If I'm moving towards my target and shoot at the same time as if I were moving away, a lot of the time, my shot tends to go above my reticule. In order to compensate for forward movement, I usually aim at my opponent's chest, or, in our forward movement, we can shoot much closer to the apex of our jump. This is because moving forward will actually shallow out our downward bullet path that I showed you in the diagram. If I'm moving left to right, however, my shot will always pull the opposite direction of where I'm moving. Swiping is going to give me the same results. In order for me to compensate for swipes and left to right movements, I always try to shoot when my reticule is at the far side of my opponent's head. But how much you compensate for any of your movements will always depend on how fast you are actually moving. For sniping while doing a single jump, not going into your double jump, the same rules apply. The only difference between single jumps and double jumps is that everything seems to be a little more condensed in single jumps. What I mean by that is simply that the time between the apex of your jump and the time you shoot is shorter. Usually I hit these shots right before I hit the ground. So, as I've been explaining for the past few minutes, there are three major variables that affect your sniper shots while jumping, and those are shot timing on your fall, bullet pull, and movement. While movement is going to be the biggest factor as it changes both shot timing and bullet pull. As you first start practicing your jump snipes, you might start noticing that you'll hit a lot of body shots. But don't worry, this means that you're just one step away from getting those amazing clips. Well guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it to be helpful. If you have any questions for me, I do stream on twitch.tv/a_large_basket, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions there. Or, you can post your questions in the comment box, and I'll try to respond to as many as I can. Feel free to give this video a like, it's really helpful. I am a Large Basket, and I'll see you guys in the Crucible. Peace.
2 for 1. Yes! 3 down!